Hello everybody, Loter for Life here, bringing you guys a brand new video. Gameplay in the background is Subnautica. This is something I'm going to try. Sorry if it looks super pixelated. I don't know what's up with my compression or something. I pre-recorded this footage of me playing and it looked fine on my other computer. I don't know if it's just my computer or what, but it's being weird, and I don't think YouTube's going to help any. But considering that I'm treating this kind of like a podcast, you know, you can, I'll honestly tab out and do whatever you want. But hey, if you like watching me play Subnautica, you know, it's there. And figured you guys would like something other than my ugly mug looking at. So, anyways, on to the topic. I have been quite a PlayStation fanboy. Growing up, I grew up with a PlayStation 1 to an extent. I say to an extent because it was a hand-me-down. And I honestly didn't play very many games on it. The only games that most people know of that I had were Spyro. I had some Dragon Tales hide and seek game that was complete garbage, and other than that, that was about it. So, but however, I did get a PS2, and I've grown up with the PS2, PS3, PS4, Vita, PSP. I own them all. Heck, I still have that old PS1. In my room, actually. It's just on a shelf and stuff as decoration, because I honestly lost the wires to it forever ago. So, I am quite the Sony fanboy. PlayStation fanboy, I should say. Sony as a whole, I'm not too concerned about, how do I put it? I'm not really too fond of as a whole, and I've been hoping that their bad practices with their other stuff would stay out of their PlayStation brand, but it's been getting worse, and I'm a big person against censorship. I can't stand it. There's very few instances where I will continue playing a game or something that has censorship or support any of it, because I do not want to support censoring art. Heck, the only game I really deal with that I play consistently that has censorship is Yu-Gi-Oh! I play Yu-Gi-Oh! As a big hobby, and that's partly because it's the only card game I find any enjoyment from other than Chaotic, and Chaotic's kind of dead, so yeah. But in terms of video games and anime and stuff, I typically try to avoid games that have censorship in them, and I don't want to support companies that force or enact censoring stuff. Like, take for instance Nintendo. As much as I wanted to get Tokyo Mirage Sessions FE, I did not get it until I found it used at a V-Stock, so I could, get it without giving Nintendo the money, because I did not want to support them censoring their games. I actually have avoided a lot of Nintendo games because they censor their games so heavily. And heck, if you've ever looked up Fire Emblem Fates, I believe it was, that had the really abhorrent censoring, completely butchering character motivations and removing dialogue that really didn't need to be removed, you know, in a more adult game. But no, they wanted to make it kid-friendly, so yeah, let's take out the... what was it? There was like a whole 10-minute conversation between two mercenaries about how they feel after having been in the mercenary business for so long and seeing the faces of people they killed and stuff in it. I'll leave a link to a really interesting video that goes into full detail on Fire Emblem Fates censorship saga. But in general, I don't like supporting companies that really do censorship heavily. And Sony's been pretty good about not censoring anything. They personally don't really make games that need to be censorship too much. And however, they have been known as the company that has all the, fan service games on them, Well, Senran Kagura started off on the 3DS. It became super popular on the PlayStation consoles. And then you got the Neptunia franchise that has been mostly on PlayStation. You got, good lord, all of the other millions of random RPGs that have a lot of fan service in them. The PS Vita is especially known for it, like with Monster Monpiece, Demon Gaze. God, there was one that was about to come out about a year or two ago that I was actually really interested in. For a multitude of reasons, not just the fan service aspects, but Omega Labyrinth C looked pretty cool, and it honestly looked fun. And my Vita is dusty, needs some new games for it. Was excited for it, and then that was when we got the taste of Sony's new censorship policies. Omega Labyrinth Z actually had to get its Western release canceled because all of a sudden Sony had a bunch of new censorship policies that they were forcing, and it's been encroaching on more and more games, and it's an incredibly hypocritical censorship policy. I honestly wouldn't mind it as much if it wasn't for the fact that it seems to be specifically targeting Japanese games. Which, I'll be honest, I am biased towards because that's the main game type that I play. I mainly play JRPGs and such. And seeing these games get censored left and right, it's really starting to annoy me. So, like, again, Omega Labyrinth Z came out in Japan perfectly fine. And then as they were getting ready to release it over here, all of a sudden it gets canceled. And then, heck, I think the localization was actually basically done, if not entirely done, and it was only like a few months out from being released, and Sony's like, hey, we aren't doing this anymore, it's not allowed. And the thing is, it was even rated by the ESRB. It got like an M rating or something, which is understandable. And then you got Senran Kagura that, hey, they gotta delay it so they can take out an entire game mode. And then you got Nekopara that was so heavily censored for a time that the M-rated game, the M-rated adult visual novel with, like, actual, like, H scenes and stuff, if you catch my drift, was rated E for everybody due to how heavily censored it was. Very briefly, they fixed that, even though, honestly, considering how heavily censored it is, yeah, it probably does deserve an E rating, but So, if you don't know what these new censorship policies are, we don't know the full extent of them, but basically, Sony moved to their HQ, their PlayStation HQ, from Japan to California recently. Actually, about 2 years ago, and if you know anything about California, they are... I don't want to use the acronym, but it's the best thing I can think of, and that's California's full of SJWs. Okay, people who hate the idea of ecchi fan surfacey games, and basically the mere idea of fun, if I'm being completely honest, for a lot of stuff. And due to them moving over there, I'm sure that they hired a whole bunch of people, and a whole bunch of people over there are SJWs and are heavily against these kinds of games coming out. So it's rather annoying that because a Japanese company moved to America, we now are having to face with these censorship issues. It's even more hysterical because Sony was known as being the company that was against this kind of stuff in the previous generation and most of this current one. And then you had Nintendo, who has been well known for their censoring policies. And yet Nintendo is the company that is actually very lax about that kind of stuff now. It's like they switched. Which, again, is hysterical. Because if you had told somebody from 10 years ago that this is going to happen, they would have probably laughed at your face. And it's due to all this that I don't know if I can bring myself to support Sony anymore. We got the PlayStation 5 looming around the corner any minute now, and granted, we don't know anything about it really at the moment, and as much as I would love to rush out and get it as soon as it's like released and everything, I don't know if I can bring myself to go out and get it, because as much as I love Sony's PlayStation brand and the exclusives, like Jak and Daxter, God of War, so on and so forth, I have this like conflicting feeling, and I don't know if I'm like feeling the right thing about it, or if I'm just letting my like personal morals get in the way of my fun. But it's really polarizing, because, and I don't know if I'm the only one who's feeling this way. I guess is why I'm making this video, just to kind of get my thoughts, opinions, and ramblings out there. And then, you got the rumors that, oh, hey, the PlayStation 5 is going to be compatible with every single previous PlayStation console, which, if that's true, might sell me on it by itself, because hey, the idea of being able to play like PS2 games, PS1, PS3, PS4, Vita, PSP, all on one console, that idea sounds so cool to me. Being able to just have all my PlayStation games all under one console, all under the same hardware, that would be so incredibly cool. And as somebody who has every single previous PlayStation console, that would save up a lot of space. But again, the censoring, it's so inane. And then you got the fact that, oh, what about the Western games? Why is it that Senran Kagura, a game that does not show anything particularly major, yes, there's a lot of skin shown, but you don't see any of the naughty bits that would get your game rated AO or anything, you know? But yet, GTA and Rockstar's games in general, I haven't played Red Dead 2, but I've been told that, like, oh, you can see women basically almost completely naked in those games, which doesn't surprise me. It's Rockstar. They do what they want. And yet these games aren't being censored. Why is it only the Japanese games? It seems like they are specifically going after the small guys, because, you know, a lot of these Japanese companies, they don't have the power to be able to combat it, you know, combat this bullcrap, in all honesty, in order to fulfill their artistic wish, which, you know, it probably does come down to intention, you know, with like Rockstar's games and stuff. The naughty bits and stuff, that's just like an added detail, and it's in there in the series, you know, like, hey, you go into a strip club, you're gonna see that kind of stuff, you know, but that's not the main selling point. But with like Senran Kagura, it is the main selling point, you know. So I guess that's the logic behind it, because that game has it as the main selling point, but Rockstar's games don't. I don't know, and I don't know how to feel about it overall. It's been driving me nuts, and seeing more and more games get censored and pushed back by Sony and everything, while the Western game companies get away with it. It's been driving me nuts. I don't know. Now I'm losing my train of thought, but yeah. So it's been just a wild ride, and I'm hoping that Sony turns around, that they see that, hey, this is hurting their game sales, this is gonna hurt their bottom line with their next game series, with like their next thing, you know, like their next console, that's the word. Then I'm hoping maybe they might change, because, you know, that's how corporations speak. It's money. That's all they really care about at the end of the day. So you gotta vote with your wallet. And before anybody comments it, and I know I'm going to get this in the comments if this video gains any traction, which I kind of doubt considering how small my channel is here. But no, it's not just because look, I've seen a lot of people say, oh, this is a good thing, you know, titty games shouldn't be around. Oh, if you want to wank off, there's plenty of stuff online. But that's not the issue here. It's the very precedent that they are setting with these H games, because they're going to go after the small fry first, and then eventually they will go after the big ones. You think Rockstar's going to get away with it forever? No, they won't. And that's my concern, because if we give them an inch, they'll take a mile, and it's just gonna escalate, you know. It's just hysterical to me that we can have games where you can just brutally beat, dismember, and kill people, but oh no, there's some skin. Oh no, hide the children, hide your wives. It's so stupid. And jeez, you know, I know that that's not gonna stop people from commenting, oh, you're just a perv. You know, personally, I don't really particularly care for Senran Kagura. I've tried the games before. I've never been able to get fully into them. Neptunia, though, is one of my favorite game series ever. And it has been, with the release of Brave Neptunia, yes, the game did get censored in the Japan on the PS4 version, but the Switch version's not censored, so I'm probably going to get that version, which also gives me more of a reason to play my Switch. So, you know, if everything continues like this, then I honestly think that I'm going to stop supporting Sony entirely, you know? I think I'm going to become a freaking Nintendo and PC player, because, I mean, not that there's anything wrong with that. I like my Nintendo Switch, and now that I have a computer that can actually play games at a consistent frame rate and graphics settings, I am pretty happy with that. Now if only my freaking video player could compress it right, like, holy crap, I don't know why it's so pixelated. It was not this pixelated on my other computer, but I digress. So, what do you guys think about, you know, Sony's whole bullcrap stuff? This is just going to be my little rambling series. I don't know what I want to call it. I kind of want to call it rambling, but at the same time I don't want to call it that, because Boogie has a series called Rambling, and I don't want to just rip them off. I don't know, I might call it Rambling anyways, because I really am just rambling. This is my off-the-cuff, very much unscripted thoughts and opinions on a particular topic, and this kind of series is not just going to cover video game stuff, but also other things, you know, like animes, movies, whatever happens to be on my mind that I want to talk about. Much in the same vein as my Persona Q2 dub ranting video, although that was an actual rant, and I actually like had a relative plan on what I wanted to say, because oh boy, that angered me so much. So, I don't know. What do you guys think of this? Thank you for watching. What are your guys' thoughts on the topic? What are your guys' thoughts on the video? Do you enjoy just the random gameplay? I'm thinking I'm gonna, for this series, just kind of record some gameplay of a game that I'm playing at the moment, and just kind of talk over it. Hopefully not everything will be as pixelated as this. I don't know what is up with this. I gotta get into the systems and figure it out. So, yeah. Anyways, thank you for watching. Have a great day. If it's your birthday, happy birthday. And see y'all later. Peace out.